Thanks for stopping by at Twisted Art Designs. Today I want to do a flip through of my Gnome art journal. So this is a project I started last summer with my mother, and we do art together via Skype. So she has a little art room and I have an art room, and we Skype and do projects together and find interesting things to make. And she loves to make journals. I've shown a couple of her journals on my channel. And we decided last summer to make gnome journals. We both love gnomes, and I love mermaids and fairies and gnomes and all kinds of things like that. So it was a really fun theme to work with. And we had a really good time creating these books. So I thought I'd just show it to give you some inspiration, maybe some ideas of things to try in an art journal, and maybe you'll want to create one like this too. I started with this. This is a mixed media black journal. It is Artist's Loft. You can buy them at Michael's. You can get them on sale. When they go on sale, they're a really good price. And they have black mixed media paper inside. So the whole book is black. When we got them, we had never done anything on black before, so that was kind of a new experience. And we ended up absolutely loving it. And I'll show you why when I do the flip through of the book. So it's mixed media paper. It's a really nice weight, 125 pounds. They are spiral bound. Now my mom decided to make a cardboard cover with a spine that covers her spiral. And so she's got a cover that she covered the entire cover, if that makes sense, making a book to book within a book. And then she just sewed, punched holes in it, and she stitched the spiral to the spine of her book. Now I chose not to do that on mine. I went kind of the easy route. So mine is still spiral, which is okay. I don't mind it at all. I covered it with this material. I had this really fun material with all kinds of forest bugs and bees and all kinds of different flora and fauna and fun things from the forest. And it was a really nice piece of material. So we both covered our books in the material. You just tear it. You use Mod Podge to adhere it to the cardboard. So I just Mod Podged the material right onto my book. I've got the gnome in the front to start the book, and then I got the gnome facing backwards to end the book. I'm still going to make some dangles, some little bottles, glass bottles with maybe fairy dust or something in them. I don't know what I'm going to put on the edge yet. Probably some charms that have bugs and leaves or something, but I haven't done that. But I can still show you the flip through, so I was excited to get started and show you. So this is just for inspiration. Let me just get started and show you what's inside. So when you flip through the first page, this page is a pull-out. So this is a pull-out. We saw this on someone else's YouTube channel. She showed how to make it. It flips open this way and this way. There's a cute image I put on it that has a gnome house, and it's got flip-ups. Now, inside these flip-ups, I think I'm going to put lined paper where I can flip up and journal in all these sections. I haven't done that yet because I really haven't decided what I want to put in there, so that's why it's left undone. But this is a really fun little card, and then it's got a little belly band right on this page, so it slips in and it slips behind. What I did was made a pocket with mushrooms and trees and things that the book slips into. This one is also a book. This is a book that I have a string closure, and it's got papers and things that you can journal in. So this is just a book inside, and then it string closes like that. This is a paper clip. We do a lot of those fun decorative paper clips. So there's a paper clip with a wooden flower on the front of it. Some dragonflies, all kinds of fun things in this book. Okay, and you turn the page. This page is a pocket page, so each little section here is split, and these pull out. These were made from security envelopes and paper, and then they've got papers that pull out of them for journaling that have mushrooms and fairy things on them, and they tuck in. So it's got pockets here, 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 and then there's the back side of that paper clip where I put a mushroom stamp that's got a big old toad on it. That's so cute. And then these little gnomes, this guy's reading, he's got his glasses, and then I cut out on a die cut machine, I cut out these ferns out of magazine images, so that's magazine, and made ferns. This was a scrapbooking kit from probably about 15 years ago of a tree that actually was a pop-up kit, and I didn't make it pop up. I just put it down flat. I've got the little gnome at the bottom, and then he's holding a string, and he's flying a kite. So the string is real, and then I put the little bows on it, and so he's flying his kite in the forest. This page came out of a book that my mom got from my brother for her birthday. She got that had all these cool images that had like gnome houses and things, fairy houses from the forest. So I cut the windows out. I put yellow paper behind it so it looks like the windows are glowing. And then there's this fairy with see-through wings, and she's sitting on the front steps of her little fairy house. This page is the envelope flip style. I did a journal for my brother about his dog, and I did the whole book in envelope flips, and I added it to this. So there's a little brad that holds it. So you can see that this is a security envelope, and this pulls out. So there's journaling inside. There's a little book for journaling. And when it's out, the whole image looks like that. When you put this little book back in the envelope, then that forest stuff shows up in the window behind. So there's one window, and it flips up. When you flip it up, it's got a scene that's like a wintry scene in the forest. Then I've got this envelope that's got a die-cut pine cone on it. It flips down, and then it's got to pull out. This is hard to show on camera, but I'm doing the best I can here. It's got papers that pull up and tuck in behind. So then there's the one in the middle. This is the beekeeper gnome, so he's got his beekeeping going on, and here's a funny mushroom that has honey dripping off of it and bees. So that's a perfect one, and it's got dragonflies and bees, and that goes in that pocket. So they all kind of flip and fold within each other. And here's the last one inside. The books pull out this way and this way. Papers to journal on and books. So when you fold them all up, it goes like this, like this, like this, and then this tucks down behind this decorative brad. So then it still makes a cute scene with it all layered. It's kind of fun. Had a really good time doing this book, but we've been working on this book for almost a year. Then she bought also a book of coloring book images. So we took the plain black and white coloring book images and colored them and fussy cut them out and glued them down with matte gel medium onto the black pages, and look at how beautiful they look. And then I went back and added some little dots coming up from the flowers. I used colored pencil in white to make the smoke coming out the chimney. And they make such cute, cute gnome houses, and they look beautiful on the black paper. And then there's this cute little guy. He was in that other book that she got, and it was an ephemera book, a mushroom ephemera book on Amazon. And I'll give the link to both of these books on Amazon. So if you want to do a book like this, you can find those books that we used. So here's another tie string book with a gnome on the front, and the papers are all look kind of like gnome house type things. There's forest images, and I used a decorative edge punch here. So it's just places to journal. Really cool papers, gnome house on the back, and then I used a string closure to secure it. And then these little mushrooms were die cuts that I cut out on watercolor paper and watercolored them, and then I put them over this webbing ribbon this kind of webbing ribbon, and there's another fern cut from a magazine image. So I just kind of like to layer things and make little interesting things. Here's another pocket too that could use something in it. This whole big piece is a pocket. This page, I love this page. This page is mosaic. When we were scrapbooking, we used to go to the conventions and we'd get these cardstock pieces that were 12 by 12, and they're called mosaics, and they have a little tiny mark line where you line up the images, and you could take your photographs and cut them up and spread them out. Well, I used an image out of that book, that mushroom ephemera book, and you cut the images an inch wide, and then you lay them all out, and you get this beautiful blown up image. So that's what I put in here, was a mosaic of one of the mushroom pieces out of that ephemera book. And then behind it, I fussy cut out this guy and mushrooms and popped them up. This one's popped up. I put some fibers down below, so it's like it's coming out of moss. And then I used paint pens to make the grasses and the plants match the plants that are in the picture. And then there's pop-up butterflies on the page too that are all over it. There's one on here, and then there's one over here to have pop-up butterflies. So that is a really fun page, and I love the mosaic, how it turned out. That was fun. This one I used, this is the Fiona Fox, and it's from an Etsy shop that I did a collaboration with, and the Etsy shop is called Crazy Fox Paper, and I'll put the link for that. But it had this kit that she gave me that had this fox with movable legs and a movable tail, and I just thought that fox was so cute to be in the forest with the gnomes, so I added it to this book. And then I just used colored pencil to make the sky, and paint to make the grass. I've got the gnomes sitting in kind of a flower garden. I used some die cuts. That's little flower die cuts that I watercolor painted. Little gnome sitting here, and he's next to this gnome that came out of a book that is gardening. And so this is kind of like just a gardening theme page. This one's one of my favorites. I love this. This was a coloring book image, and the gnome on the ladder, I collaged him. Got the ladder and I collaged him and made it look like he's up in the tree, and this guy's standing down here looking at him. I put some fibers and things. The door to the little house opens, and there's a gnome inside. The window's open, so I cut out those pieces, and there's a candle in the window. So the window opens and there's a candle in it. This I collaged into the picture. I added leaves. I drew in and added leaves to the tree, and I just love how that turned out, and I love the little doors and windows that open. It just makes it so fun. So look at how pretty, having a black background and then using coloring book pages and coloring. I colored my images using alcohol markers, Ohuhu Alcohol Markers. I used colored pencils, Caran Neocolor II crayons to do all my my coloring book images that are in this book. This was another thing we saw online. This is super fun. This is an envelope flip. So you start with a big one, and then it flips down to this one, and each one has pockets with a gnome with a pie, and little gnomes and things on the front, and little pockets and things on the front of this one. And when you flip it, another one comes down, and the pockets are all filled with papers and gnomes and cards and things, and there's a gnome on each one, mushrooms and mushroom paper. So each one flips and flips and flips down on top of each other. So it's really fun. I'll see if I can find the video for where we learned how to do this that was on YouTube, because that is just such a fun thing to create. I love it. I love it. And it's so layered, so there's so many neat things layered. You see the whole thing, and then when it flips open, it's surprising that it waterfalls down with all those papers. This was a video I did on this free fairy paper doll that I found online. And I thought she was so cute that I just put her in this book. So she's got movable hands and arms and legs. And I just layered her behind some paper that can be journaled on, and then layered some mushrooms. I made these mushrooms I made out of just pattern paper, just cutting them and layering them to make them. And then I made one over here with a tag that pulls out from behind. So this mushroom's got a tag behind it that pulls out, and then it hides back in here. And this cute little mushroom gal down here going into her house, she just picked some berries, and then this cute little fairy's watching over her. This one, I loved this coloring book image. It was of a snow globe. So what I did was I colored the image as vibrantly as I could, and I cut a piece of vellum and put vellum over the top of it to make it look like a real snow globe. I put some glitter underneath. I put some glitter paints on top, and you can see the image inside, and so it really looks like a snow globe. I love that. It's so fun. So fun. And then I did cutouts. So this has got some cutouts over here, and there's actually 2 pages that have the cutouts, and the reason that isn't glued together is I need to put a piece of acetate inside to make the windows, and at the moment I can't find my box of acetate, so I'll have to do that when I find it. But it makes these cute little windows. So you've got windows with this little gnome peeking through and all the mushrooms, and then when you turn the page, you see the snow globe in the windows on this side. And here's the guy that was peeking through. He's sitting and chilling in his little field of mushrooms. So I love having that cute little window page. I just need to put the plastic in it. This one is a coloring book page, but then I cut out die cut leaves and made a little slice with an X-Acto knife to stick them in all over the tree so it looks really leafy. And I used colored pencil to make the clouds and the blue behind it to make it pop. I put some, this is called Petal Soft, and I put that at the bottom to make it look like moss. And I added some, these were rubber stamped images, and they were just stamped on cardstock. This page we did, this is a leaf, so it looks like a leaf, the whole thing, and it's just a layover, so it doesn't have plastic behind it. It's not a window, it's a layover, and so you can see the image behind, and when you flip it, you see this image behind, and it's a layover. And it's stamped with a fern rubber stamp in clear embossing ink, and then heat set to make it look like there's just a little, almost like an ink mark of ferns everywhere. And then you got this guy with all his pop-up butterflies everywhere. He's sitting and smoking his pipe. I love this page too. This was out of that Mushroom Ephemera book. I fussy cut them out, which was a pain in the neck, but it looks really pretty. And you got this little guy. And this, this frog was on watercolor paper. I saw it on Pinterest. I drew it and watercolor painted it, and I stuck it in this book. I put a gnome on his head. So he's got a little gnome sitting on his head while he's having his coffee. And then down here is an envelope that folds out like this. So it's a fold out pop-up envelope with little papers. This says magic, and there's mushroom papers, and there's a pop-up butterfly inside, and it's got this beautiful forest scene inside. So you fold it up like this and close it like that. The next part of the book is my favorite part. If you've watched me do the Julie Nutting Paper Doll Altered Book Series, or the other Paper Doll book series that I did a couple years ago, I love to do Girls on the Edge. Well, I took that concept and I used it in this book with the coloring book images so that I'm layering gnome houses. So gnome houses on the edge instead of dolls on the edge. And it made this beautiful forest with layered gnome houses. So I colored them. There's little gnomes in the windows. And here's a little gnome just sitting there. This one has the pop-up door, pop-open door, where I back the coloring book image with cardstock, cut the door, put an image behind it, and then I made a little gnome in the door. And then when you turn the page, you've got this teapot gnome house, and see how it goes with the teacup gnome house on the previous page. Now you've got the teapot and teacup together, and this little cute guy, and he's drinking tea, Earl Grey tea, and I put a little string with a little tea bag coming out for he's drinking his Earl Grey tea. You got a little gnome in the window looking out, watching him. I put vellum paper over the window and put the little gnome behind it and cut the window out. And then you've got this skinny one right here. These were all in that coloring book, and it was so fun to do them, put them on the edge, cut the edge, and then put ones behind it where it would layer. Look at how cool that looks to make layered images. And it was fun to do all the coloring and cutting. This guy's sitting and chilling in front of his house. His little door opens and there's a gnome inside. So that's got a cute little door. This guy's asleep, taking a nap up in a bird nest up in the tree. And then you flip this. I love this one, is so cute. Look at this one. So here's the cute gnome house. I did some clouds and some smoke, and the windows are all cute and pretty. Well, here's the door. Here's these two gnomes sitting on a bench, kissing. And when you open the door, the angry dad is ticked off because these two are having a little clandestine kiss on the bench out front. So dad's watching over them. They must be teenage gnomes. So here's the page on the back. This was all layered with die cut images and grass and flowers. And then again, another one of the coloring book images. Just put some stars in the sky. This back section here is glued down to the cover of the book at the top and the bottom. So technically this is a pocket, although there's nothing in it. I'm not sure if I'm going to put anything in it, but that's a pocket back there. And then that's the back of the book. So it's going to get a few more things, maybe a few more dangles, maybe a few more paper clips that are decorative, maybe some hanging things. I need to figure out if I want a closure on this or not. I probably will put some kind of ties, just punch holes and then tie some ribbon ties and then do some dangles on the back. But this is going to be a coffee table book just to sit in my living room to look through. It was super fun to do. I hope this gave you some neat ideas. Again, I'll give you the link to the papers and the ephemera book and the coloring book that were the images that came for putting into this journal. But just so much fun to create, and it's so much fun to look at. Plus you can journal in it. So we're going to start a second one. We had so much fun and we still have images left. So we've got our second book. We've got them on sale. It was like a buy one, get one free or something, which made them 50% off, and they're more expensive. So we're going to both start our second one. And my second one's going to have fairies and gnomes and things in it again, too. So I hope you enjoyed taking a peek, and maybe it gave you some ideas of some fun things to do if you want to create a gnome journal, a gnome-themed journal with a cute forest in the back. Oh, just love it. So fun. So thanks for stopping by. Go play, go make some art, because art soothes the heart. Leave a comment down below and let me know what your favorite page was.